can all agree that the once stable multilateral order is now collapsing. Cities gathered around the networks representing us internationally have proactively contributed to the definition of the current global agendas. We European cities will certainly continue striving for multilateralism and contributing to define the kind of global players we want to be.
This year, the 18th session gathered us again to discuss the current trends of the new global order.
Everybody in the world today probably was talking about what is the relationship between China and the United States. I have to say very loudly that the solution cannot be confrontation. The solution has to be cooperation.
It's about a world in which sovereign states who do not trust each other bounce around and live in a globalization 1.0. Maybe we can hold on to the WTO. You keep rules for economic interaction, but we may end up with separate regulatory regimes. The idea of global form of regulatory coordination is unlikely to happen.
China does pose a threat to the United States and to Europe. First, economically, to make sure that we have transparent economics, we want to make sure that China's telecommunications control does not create a surveillance pattern of our citizens. And now China is starting to express a global military presence. Again, it's fine for China to grow militarily, but we want to make sure there's transparency, there's a code of conduct to make sure we don't have accidents or miscalculation.
From Chinese perspective, it is rather more desirable to have a multipolar world, which means China, Europe, Russia, perhaps India and others constitute another poles, and the whole world will be more power balancing.
Russia cares less about the world order as such as about its place in the world order. It wants to be one of the powers that actually decide on the most important issues in the world. And above all, Russia wants the world order to be such as not to impose anything on Russia against Russia's will.
I think Europe is facing several big challenges. We have to deal with the President of the United States, who is unpredictable, who has set a set of priorities that do not coincide with our own priorities. The idea of trying to define a sensible, consistent, coherent policies toward Russia is one of the most difficult tasks. And third, we have started to think at China not only as an opportunity, but also as a challenge.
My great concern, and hearing here as well, is that the world is ready to splinter into two. So we'll have one world, two systems. And that is going to be extremely dangerous. And my hope really is that Europe can be the bridge between these two systems.
The only way for the European Union to balance and counterbalance the US and China is to work internally on its strength. This is the power of knowing how to manage the transitions, the ecological transition, the societal transition, the digital transition, and a transition to a more coherent and fairer European Union.
So what comes out of this, all of these discussions, perhaps is more complexity, yes, but also to build some sort of rules-based nodal governance, whereby there are different nodes around the table, different nodes that need to be governed and that need to govern the world, but on the basis of a shared rules-based system.